entertain! Is this not why you were here?
Zit, don't get scared.
It's almost 2024. Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. One of the first main topics I want to talk about tonight is some upcoming movies in 2024. It's weird. I can't get used to saying 2024. It's a nice even number, but the future frightens me. The future is not written yet. Our past is behind us, and only one man can save us. I'm not sure who that is, but either way, I do want to talk about some upcoming movies. And how are you guys doing? It's almost New Year. Yay! Pretend a whole bunch of fireworks went off behind my head. Yay. All right, so let's just dive into the questions here. And welcome back, guys. I will not be staying here until midnight tonight. Unfortunately, I don't think I have 5 hours in me to talk about movies. But nevertheless, I figured I'd say hi before the new year kicks in and hang out with you guys. Hopefully you got some popcorn, something good to drink, maybe some alcohol. Damn it, I forgot to pour myself a nice bourbon before I started this live show, but I do have a delicious caffeinated beverage right here, so my heart can palpitate as we talk about movies. So without further ado, I feel the need to talk about some upcoming 2024 movies. But the first question we have here tonight is Akai Nai. Happy New Year, John, who's been a member for 17 glorious months, and I thank you for that, sir. How's it going, buddy? It's going well. All right, we got John Burkett here who says, I'm glad to see the Nick Cage glasses are back on. Absolutely. The world just looks better through rose-colored glasses. I'll give you a little insight to what my life looks like. Huh? That's what I'm looking at there. Doesn't that just look better? Doesn't that look more magical? All right. So, yeah, my first question to you guys is let me know what your most anticipated upcoming movies of 2024 are. Type away in the chats. We will answer them momentarily. But we got one here who says, Skylar Wheelock says, I was just about to watch There Will Be Blood, but your streams are more important, John. Did you hear Frank Darabont is reportedly in talks to direct 2 episodes of Stranger Things Season 5? Ooh, that gets my juices flowing. I think maybe they'll let him direct probably like the 2 bigger episodes, maybe the season finale or something like that. That would be kind of neat. Definitely the more comprehensive, larger scope episodes I would hope that he's going to direct. Plus, he understands character moments and emotions, so that gets me excited. All right. So let's talk about some upcoming movies. The first one we're going to have to look forward to in January, which we know is typically the dead zone of cinema. That's where movies go to die. It's cold, it's bleak, it's depressing. But either way, Night Swim, I saw the trailer for this. It looks mildly entertaining. It looks like a quality film I would like to take an edible and go watch. I don't expect anything out of it, but if it's cheesy and over the top and thrilling, hey, I'll be pleasantly surprised. And then we have Mean Girls, the musical, which looks really stupid to me. I don't know why they made this. They're just capitalizing on a demographic of a niche audience of people who liked the first Mean Girls. Now they're giving you a shittier, bastardized version with generic characters doing dance routines. I don't know. If you're not going to give me some Lindsay Lohan in my Mean Girls movie, I don't want it. Then we have The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham. This time, I'm a beekeeper. What's the plot to the movie? I don't know. I'm just going to do roundhouse kicks and beat bad guys up. So anyway, The Beekeeper. This looks like the most generic parody action film ever made. It almost looks like if you saw a comedy movie and the characters are at the movie theater and they're watching a satire almost-esque action film up on the big screen, it would be called The Beekeeper starring Jason Statham. This doesn't look like a real movie. This looks like it should have been an SNL skit. I mean, what's next? The pizza delivery driver. The UPS man. I don't know. What else could you have in there? Who knows? Some other odd and end job. But either way, I don't know if I'm going to see The Beekeeper. It looks like the last 14 Jason Statham movies that we've already seen, except now his occupation is he's a beekeeper. So that's the twist to the movie. I'm sure at one point he unleashes a whole bunch of bees where they sting the bad guy to death. And so help me God, if that happens, I'm going back to this clip and I'm including it with that scene in The Beekeeper if, in fact, it does happen. I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to sting you to death. Oh, that kind of reminds me when I played a character called Insect Man in my friend Stuckman's short film. If you've seen it, you might know what I'm talking about. I was a big yellow guy with no shirt on. But my name was Insect Man in that short film. And my famous line was, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, what did I say? First I pollinate, then I punish. So if Jason Statham doesn't say that one line in his movie, well, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. And if he does say it, I'm going to sue the studio because that was mine. I originated that, and I want 10% of the proceeds of the box office. Then we have the next movie here called Argyle, which comes out... Oh, this comes straight to Apple TV. It's some generic shitty action movie starring John Cena. But it does have Henry Cavill in it, which could be mildly entertaining. But it looks like a generic action movie. The next one we're going to have here is Madame Web. Okay, now let's talk about this movie momentarily because, well, should we talk about it momentarily? Does it deserve to be talked about? I don't know. It looks really bad. It looks like a superhero movie that should have hit cable TV in 2004 with Evanescence music playing in the background. I don't know about this movie. I do want to see it, but if you thought Morbius was bad, I can't wait for the reviews of Madame Web. A movie, did someone ask for this on the internet 5 years ago? And the studio said, oh, this one lonely guy who hasn't left his house in 6 months on a Reddit forum said he would love to see a Madame Web movie. I'm sure the comic book audiences would love this. They're just craving a Madame Web movie. Even though, I mean, movies like Aquaman are not doing very well at the box office. But anyway, Madame Web. Then we're getting into the good stuff here. We got Dune Part 2. Now, when it comes to the first Dune movie, I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and it has sort of a cult following at this point. And there was a lot of things about the film I enjoyed. I think it's a smart man sci-fi film that's very well made. But man, oh man, it was kind of boring. Let's be honest. Not a lot happened. And I'm hoping they were saving the flavor for Part 2. I sort of know the general story of Dune, but I have a feeling Part 2 should be the superior of both films, or at least I'm hoping it is. Then we have Kung Fu Panda 4, don't give a shit about. Oh, then we have the new Robert Pattinson sci-fi flick, Mickey 17. Now, this is an interesting film because anytime you have a sci-fi film that deals with space travel, a one-way mission, they live on like some kind of colonized ice planet, that gets me instantly excited. That's the kind of sci-fi film I crave, I want, I need, and if you're going to throw Robert Pattinson into the mix, give it to me right now. I did start listening to the audiobook version of this maybe like 5 months ago. And I don't know, I couldn't get beyond 7 minutes of it because the guy reading it, I just couldn't stand his voice. But I was like, I want Robert Pattinson to narrate this as I go to sleep. But anyway, I'm looking forward to Mickey 17. And then the next one we have is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is sort of an odd subtitle if you ask me. Now, obviously the poster, it looks like New York is frozen. Hell has frozen over. And it looks like they're kind of pulling out all the stops, having the original cast come back. No longer are they just a 3-second cameo at the end of the film. So I'm kind of looking forward to this. I'm glad it doesn't take place on a farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere, and they're actually in New York City where the Ghostbusters should be. So that gets me excited. But I'm still on the fence about this film. Ghostbusters Afterlife to me was sort of like a movie you watch once and you never have the urge to go back, because years from now, if I think to myself on a rainy day, man, I want to watch a Ghostbusters movie, it's definitely not going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'd rather watch Ghostbusters 2. At least it has Vigo the Carpathian, that creepy son of a bitch who wants to kidnap children and dip them in pink ooze. Anyway, what a creepy son of a bitch. All right, let's go to the next one here. We had Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. All right, so the trailer for this I think looks really bad. I think it looks really, really bad. I think they just want to see. It doesn't look like a kaiju movie The way that Godzilla and King Kong are moving around in this trailer for this film, it looks like Ninja Turtles. Like, they're not moving like kaijus, all slow and stoic like. They're just flipping and running around doing scissor kicks. It's like, did the studio who made this forget that this is a kaiju movie and not a new modern day action movie with superheroes in it who do backflips and shit? Something about this looked really unbecoming to me. It looked like they hired like Chuck Norris to put on a Godzilla outfit and run around doing scissor kicks and roundhouse kicks or something. I don't know. Did you get that vibe from the trailer? Doesn't it look like they're moving too fast? Are audiences' ADD levels so high at this point in cinema that we have to move faster in action movies? The kaijus move too fast, too slow. Make them move like Ninja Turtles. That's the ticket. Anyway. Then we have Rebel Moon Part 2, the Scargiver. Now, I have not seen Rebel Moon Part 1 because our Netflix finally implemented the thing where you can't share Netflix accounts, and then you have to pay an additional $8 on top of a $20 account, which is already too much money. So I have refused to purchase Netflix in the last month, so I haven't seen Rebel Moon Part 1. I highly doubt after watching it, I'll be in the mood to watch Rebel Moon Part 2. But either way, it does come out in April, and April 19th, nevertheless. And I'll tell you the most important thing about April 19th. It's the day before 420. But more importantly, beyond that, April 19th is my birthday. So happy birthday to me. Thanks, Zack Snyder, for a mediocre sci-fi film that is going to shit itself out straight to Netflix. Then we have the movie The Challengers. And then we have Fall Guy. Which Fall Guy to me, if you want to have a rom-com type movie, okay, this is the type that I want to see a rom-com take. This is the genre in which that genre. What am I saying here? Fall Guy is, if you have a rom-com movie, this is the story I want to see, okay? It's about an action stuntman in Hollywood played by Ryan Gosling. Yes, please, take me away. Do what you want with me, Ryan Gosling. And keep in mind, I am a heterosexual male, except for when it comes to Ryan Gosling wearing a leather jacket. All right? Take that how you will. Don't judge me. But anyway, Fall Guy looks pretty good. Looks like a good time. I'll definitely check it out. It seems like a movie that should have come out in like February around Valentine's Day. I don't know if this needs to come out in May. Seems a little too late. Then we have a movie called If with John Krasinski's directorial follow-up after A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2. Now this stars Ryan Reynolds, and it looks like it has it looks like the purple guy from McDonald's, whatever his name was. Purple Blurburl? I don't know. I just know the Hamburglar. Anyway, I don't know much about this movie. Couldn't tell you. And then we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which comes out May 24th. And this movie sort of came out of nowhere. I don't remember hearing any speculation, talk, or discussion about this film. And by the way, any questions that you guys are putting in right now, I will get to them in just a few minutes. So type your questions in. I'll get to them as soon as I'm done rambling on about upcoming movies of 2024. But when it comes to the new Planet of the Apes movie, I'm excited. I like to see apes and chimpanzees with motion capture technology backing them. And it's finally, we're out of the realm of present day and we finally go into the future where we in fact have a planet of apes. It's no longer James Franco having a pet monkey. You know, it's like, okay, finally we've gotten there. We got where we wanted to be. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. It just feels like a movie that came out of nowhere though. And then one of my most anticipated movies of 2024 will definitely be Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Witness me. I'm looking forward to this. I think Anya Taylor-Joy in this role looks a little like there's some scenes where I'm like, yeah, she looks good. And I think she's a great actress. I loved her in The Menu and A Queen's Gambit and multiple other films, but she looks slightly frail. And maybe that's because they starve her in the post-apocalyptic wastelands and they're not feeding her. I don't know, but she looks a little frail to me. She looks like I don't quite buy her doing much action-esque things, but nevertheless, great actress. I'm looking forward to the movie. I have faith in the director, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Maybe we'll have a little cameo from Mad Max himself at some point somehow. Maybe not. I don't know. And then we have the Garfield movie. I think I've said enough. And then we have Inside Out 2, which I sort of forgot that we were getting an Inside Out 2. Now, when it comes to the first Inside Out, I enjoyed watching it the one time I did, but it's definitely one of those Pixar films that never lent itself to rewatchability for me. But hey, anything Pixar, I'll give it a try at least once. Then we have Bad Boys 4, which I sort of liked Bad Boys 3. It was mildly disposable, but hey, I'll check it out. A Quiet Place Day 1. Now, this is sort of fascinating to me. So this will be the prequel to the first Quiet Place in 2017. It's not directed by John Krasinski, but it's directed by the same guy who directed Nick Cage's drama Pig. Did you see that? I watched that. It was all right. He steals a child's bicycle. I quite enjoyed that aspect of the movie. That was a 2-second scene, but that's what I clung on to. So Quiet Place Day 1, okay, good thriller. I'll definitely check it out. Then we have Twisters coming out July 19th. Now, when it comes to the original Twister movie from 1995, I did see that in theaters with my older sister, and I loved it. It still holds up to today. I mean, when it comes to a movie based on a natural disaster, Twister just gives you everything you want. It has it has cows flying around. Now, I've heard that, I guess I haven't heard much about Twisters, but hey, natural disasters, CG madness, maybe it'll be at least a guilty pleasure movie. Then we have Deadpool 3, and I think Deadpool 3 will probably be the most anticipated comic book movie for most people this year because there's not a lot of good ones coming out. And we're going to talk about another one in just one second. But Deadpool 3, okay, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and if you saw the leaks everywhere on the internet, you see that Hugh Jackman finally got his yellow leather jumpsuit. Wolverine finally is hitting the big screen, at least the Wolverine I grew up with. He's not wearing some black weird S&M jumpsuit anymore. He's wearing a yellow one, which instantly makes me happy. So I'm excited to see Deadpool 3. Then we have Borderlands, directed by Eli Roth from Hostel. Is this based on the video game or is this some original movie? I don't know. It is based on the game. Okay, so a post-apocalyptic movie. So that means 2 post-apocalyptic movies in the same summer. You got Furiosa and you have Borderlands. Now, when it comes to, if this is in fact based on the video game, it is. Wow. Okay. So if this is in fact based on the video game, I did play the first game, maybe for like a week or two, and I enjoyed it. I didn't get really into it, but I could see that lending itself to an okay movie. But in all honesty, it feels like it'd make a better series, doesn't it? I don't know. Maybe with Fallout, they said, screw it, let's just make it a movie. But it's directed by Eli Roth, so it's probably going to be over the top and gruesome and violent with a substandard story that takes a backseat for the sake of having gruesome over-the-top violence. That's what Eli Roth does. And then we have Alien Romulus. Now, I'm a sucker for an Alien movie. The last few were a little bit, and I was hoping that they'd become a thinking man sci-fi flick, but I don't know much about Alien Romulus. I know for like the last 5 years, there's been scripts and they couldn't quite stick to what concept they wanted to do. At one point, it was going to be a series, then it was going to be a movie, then it was another movie. There's been like 8 different directors attached to this at some point. But I'm looking forward to a new Alien movie. And let's talk about the next big comic book movie of the summer, a little film called Kraven the Hunter. Wasn't this already delayed by 6 months? Isn't that what Sony does with their movies? They make really bad movies. Then they realize, oh my God, what did we do? We just spent $140 million on this piece of flaming shit. And then they go, okay, I know what we'll do. We'll delay it for 6 months. Okay, does that fix the movie? No, Bob. But what it does is it delays it for 6 months. And then we'll delay it for another 6 months. And then by the time that this movie comes out, no one's going to give a shit. That's their marketing strategy over at Sony. I don't quite comprehend how it equals box office success, but hey, that's Sony. So Kraven the Hunter. Then we have, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Beetlejuice 2. Now listen, I love the first Beetlejuice. I just have a feeling that Beetlejuice 2 will not shine a light to the original. I just feel like it's going to be this very digital, dull-looking modern-day movie that looks like it should have been crapped out on Netflix. And it's going to try to capture a little bit of the spirit of the original, but it's just not going to capture that grittiness or push the humor the direction you want it to. In the first Beetlejuice, my favorite scene is the waiting room scene where you have the guy who smoked too many cigarettes and he's just a little ashy head guy sitting there. And he's very polite. Hey, you want one? I just want more of that. And I have a feeling it's not going to quite give it to us. But I'll take it anytime I can get it. It's only been 36 years since the original. Then we have Transformers 1. Oh, it's an animated movie. Then we have the new Saw movie coming out September 27th. I guess more torture porn, maybe sort of a story interjected in there. Who knows? Just a few more movies here, guys. But I'll dive into the questions over here in just 1 second. Avery A says, John, would you rather be 5'4" or a communist? Probably a communist. You can't respect someone who's that short. You just can't. That's the truth. We all know it deep down inside. Joker 2, which comes out October 4th. Now, this is the one movie that I'm sort of just like afraid that they're going to do something too wacky and weird and they're going to ruin it. But I do have faith in the director, Todd Phillips. I have faith in Joaquin Phoenix. But if this is in fact a musical with Lady Gaga, I think that's a terrible decision. That's not the Joker sequel I wanted to see because I love the first one so much. Then we have Smile 2, because if you didn't like the first Smile, well, here's Smile 2. A cliche horror film where they do all the same shit you've seen in every other bad horror film over the last 15 years, except in this one, when they do it, they smile. Originality in Hollywood, everyone. Bravo. Bravo! Then we have Venom 3. I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry. I can't pretend I do, and I refuse to pretend. But let's just dive a little deeper here into November. All right. Gladiator 2. Now, Gladiator from 2000 is probably in my top 10 films of all time. Maximus Decimus Meridius, father to a dead son, husband to a dead wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life and the next. And there's a whole other 8 paragraphs about how he's the leader of some army or something. But either way, this is going to be odd. Now, when it comes to Ridley Scott directing action, epic, time period films, he just had Napoleon, which was released a few months ago, and not a lot of people enjoyed that. I have not seen it myself. I've sort of just been waiting for the extended cut to hit Apple TV so I can actually enjoy a good version of the film, or at least hopefully a good version of it, because the theatrical cut seemed like a bastardized, watered-down version of what it should have been. But I'm looking forward to watching Napoleon at home in my underwear. But with all that said, Ridley Scott nowadays is hit or miss. But I am excited to see Gladiator 2. Then we have Wicked Part 1. We have an untitled Karate Kid movie, which comes out December 13th. Okay, hopefully it's good. And then we have Mufasa the Lion King, which comes out December 20th. Now, this is the live action prequel to The Lion King. I think making a story around Mufasa could be kind of cool. But then again, it's a live action Disney movie, and let's face it, those aren't that great. Then we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out December 20th. Now, this one here gets my juices flowing. Now, Robert Eggers, I don't love all of his movies, but there's a few I quite enjoy. And Nosferatu is one of my favorite creepy-ass silent films of all time. And I have been waiting a very long time for a modern take on this because I think this could be a terrifying, dark, and bleak film. This is the kind of movie that you want to go see the midnight showing of it at the theater on a dark, rainy, snowy night. I know I'm including a lot of different weather patterns in what I want, but hear me out for a second. I want to go into a dark, bleak theater, right? It's rainy outside or snowing, whatever kind of precipitation you want, you can have it. And I go in there. There's no one else in the theater. Maybe I'll take my, at the time, by next year, by December 25th, I should have a wife by then. So I'll take my wife by then, which sounds weird. And I want to just get immersed into this weird, dark, evil movie. That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping for Nosferatu. Maybe my expectations are too high, but I cannot wait to see this creepy shit go down. And then we have an untitled Jordan Peele film, which could be great. You know, I'm a fan of Jordan Peele movies. So yeah, that's all the upcoming anticipated movies for 2024. I'm looking forward to it. I might have said 2025 at some point during my ramblings, but I meant 2024. All right, with all that said, let's dive into the questions. Let me hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know your most anticipated movies for 2024. Which one of those movies that I just mentioned get your juices flowing? Please share it down below. All right. Can I take the glasses off because I can't read shit with them on? There we go. Woo! All right. Now everything looks green. Okay, the first question comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, I was just about to watch... Oh, we already answered that. Sorry. We already answered this. Sorry. Okay, the first question comes from Upshot Music TV, who says, keep one, the wrestler or the girl with the dragon tattoo? I hate that question. I hate it. I hate you for asking me that question. And two very odd movies to combine. If I had to keep one, I'd probably go with a girl with a dragon tattoo. I just think there's more in there. I think it lends itself to more rewatchability. I do love The Wrestler. I love a story about the human element, especially with the backbone of wrestling included in there. But I'd probably keep the girl with the dragon tattoo. I just think I could rewatch it more. And plus, I remember the first time I saw it in a theater, which, going back to what I just said a few minutes ago about a bleak, dark theater experience, that's what that gave it. That's what that movie gave me when I watched it, all alone in the movie theater back in 2011, I believe it was. James Dozier says, hey, John, hope you have a great 2024. Well, thanks, James. I hope you do too, man. And I hope all of you do too. Bruce Cook says, John, are you drinking rum and Cokes like you did New Year's Eve 2016? I should probably go get a nice bourbon with a little bit of Dr. Pepper in there because I'm a little bit white trashy like that, but that's how I like to drink it. Maybe I'll go get one in a few minutes. But thanks for the question, man. James Dozier says, Nick Cage will be 60 years old next Sunday. Oh my, isn't that crazy? 60-year-old Nick Cage. I never thought we'd get here. I hope he lives to be 160. Future generations will need him. One day, I hope future generations look at Nick Cage the same way humanity looks at Jesus Christ. I mean, really, what's the difference? The next question comes from Enrique GM, who says, John T. Querio, thanks for your vids. Saludos de Mexico. Well, thanks for the question, and thanks for that, man. I could only read half of it. A little bit of a Spanglish on there. AAPS Entertainment says, advice you wish you had when you started YouTube. Advice I wish I had when I started YouTube was, if you want me to keep it real with you, and I think that's what you guys probably want, is it not? Is if I knew what I knew now when I first started YouTube, I would have probably grabbed the ball and ran a little bit quicker than I did, and I probably would have made more videos than I did, and I would have solidified exactly what I was doing earlier on, because over the years on YouTube, I've tried a lot of different things, and I've tried things and got rid of it. I've tried other things and got rid of it. My style has changed, my editing style, my presentation, but if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd probably tell myself, hey man, in about 5 years, this shit is going to be so saturated where it doesn't matter what you do. So solidify yourself right now on YouTube and run with it. So I probably would have made 3 times the amount of videos I did. And I definitely would have started maybe doing movie reviews a little earlier than I did. But really, you know, if you're starting YouTube now, it's very hard to stand out. Even if what you're doing is really good, it's just so saturated. Everything is, and with the way the YouTube algorithm works nowadays, is it feeds people certain videos that they may or may not want, but that's what YouTube puts in front of you. You know, it's like the sub box now is secondary over what your YouTube feed is. So I loved the way the algorithm used to work. It used to kind of lean towards the content creator side at times, but now it's just I couldn't even tell you where my video is going to fall at on YouTube. It could either end up in your sub box. It could end up on your feed somewhere. I don't know. I think I'm rambling. But if I could go back and tell myself about it, anything on YouTube early on it would just be talk about comic book movies all the fucking time because that's what gets views on YouTube. I don't know. It's not about quality. It's about quantity. All right. The next one comes from Movie Mad, who has been a member for 50 fucking months. Did you hear what I said? 50 months. Now here's his question. Hi folks. Too many woke movies this year. I mean, it does feel like we're getting a little bogged down at times where we're just catering to certain people for the sake of doing so. And then again, let's talk about why Snow White was delayed by a year. Why was that? Can you tell me, Disney, why you delayed Snow White by a year? I just want to hear the logic and reasoning for it. That's all I want. Steve Goldie says Superman 4, Batman 4, The Matrix 4, or Alien 4. Alien 4 was bad. That underwater sequence where they're swimming just looks so 1997-ish, didn't it? Batman 4 would have been Batman. Oh man, those are all bad. You know what? I'm gonna go with Batman 4. You have Arnold as Mr. Freeze. Nice to meet you. At least it's such a bad sequel that it's a fun bad sequel. Fair enough? Okay. The next one comes from Better Call Maul, who says Deadpool 3 might be peak fan service, and I'm okay with it. Plus, who would you rather oil up, Nick Cage or Travolta? Oh, not Travolta, man. That dude I think he'd rather be in a men's bathhouse in West Hollywood at this point being oiled up by someone else, not myself. Nick Cage, absolutely. Avery A says, John. Oh, I already answered that. It was about being a communist. Clark Ingleton says, Happy New Year, Jono. Why does this week between Xmas and New Year's feel like about 4 minutes long? Dude, this whole year felt like it was about 3 minutes long, okay? Christmas happened. I blinked. I was like, what happened? Then I sneezed. And I was like, what the fuck? It's New Year's night? What's going on? So, but I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm going to go hang out with a couple friends a little bit later, play some pool, drink some Jack and Cokes, man. It'll be a good time. So, that's why I'm going to do the live show until about 8 o'clock tonight. So if you guys have any questions, please get them in. And hey, if you guys are YouTube members, please chime in on the chat over here because I want to get to your guys' glorious questions. Bruce Cook says, Jason Statham, the chimney sweep, fits British Cockney aspect. You're right. That'll be the sequel. That'll be this. And he just fights covered in soot the whole movie. Someone said, get off autopilot and enjoy the day. It won't feel super short. No, I enjoy every little nuance of my life. I assure you, I make every second count. It just feels like life is on. It feels like someone in the control room that's operating the Matrix. Or I believe in the Matrix. I'm just putting it out there. We live in a simulation. I truly believe that. It feels like someone behind the scenes.
I am Riman's brother, HWS. And I have an offer for you. I understand you're a wrestling fan, so M1 and 1 have a group I want you in called the NWO. For more details, message me on instanword4.life6.
Okay, we'll get to that one momentarily. That was Mr. Belvedere, the robot voice. If you super chat anything over $10, he will speak. I keep him in a giant pickle jar down in my basement. But going back to your question here, no, it feels like someone pushed fast forward on life. Like we were going at a normal rate and someone clicked 1.5 speed fast forward. Things are going quicker. Like, do you feel like that? Does it feel like everything is going a little bit quicker right now? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. The next one comes from Gus Babington, who says, imagine it's WrestleMania. You are in the main event. Would you rather drink a beer but take a stunner from Austin or take a people's elbow from The Rock. Oh, I'll take that stunner from Austin. And then he can dump beer on me, and then he helps me out. He helps me up, and then we share another non-alcoholic beer, and then he stunners me again. That's fine. Douse me in beverages, please, sir. Yeah, that's what I would want. Skylar Wheelock says, was there ever a wrestling gimmick that you loved that a majority of the rest of the fans didn't? Was there ever a wrestling gimmick that I loved? I don't know. Maybe the Red Rooster? I'm just kidding. That's a blatant lie. Give me a sec. Live show. Yes. I'm not wearing any pants. Hang on. My lady friend got me a alcoholic beverage. Okay. Delicious. Good stuff. Okay. Oh, that alcohol hitting my lips. It just takes me back to a happy place. All right. So what was the part of the question I was talking about? A wrestling gimmick that I enjoyed that no one else did. I don't know. I hate to be lame, but I enjoyed all the fan favorite wrestling gimmicks. I'm trying to think of an off the cuff one that I sort of enjoyed. Oh, I'll tell you one. When Goldust first debuted, okay? No one liked that weird androgynous character, but even as a kid, I thought, this dude's creepy as shit, and I enjoy it. Because he was like, if you don't know who Goldust is, he was a dude painted in gold, okay? And he was just weird, and he would do things like this. You'll never forget the name of Goldust. And for years, me and my friends would do that. So I'll go with Goldust. There you go. The next one comes from Kaloha Cooks, who says, which Nick Cage role would you want to see him come back to the most? Also, you the man. Well, thanks for that, man. We can all be the man. In 2024, we can be whatever we want. If I had to have Nick Cage go back to one role, there's two. I'm going to pick two. The first one I'm going to go with, since we are getting another Face Off remake movie, but I would like to see Nick Cage come back for another Face Off movie, playing the same character. I know what you're thinking. Castor Troy is dead. He doesn't have to be. He can save that face and put it on his cousin. I'm just kidding. That's a stupid concept. Maybe Con Air. Let's go with Con Air. I think you could make another Con Air movie. Why not? I'll take it. Or here's another one. I'll throw one more at you. Okay, I think this is actually the better idea out of everything I've said right now. The Rock Part 2. Now, it doesn't take place on The Rock, but Stanley Goodspeed is still in the FBI, and he's the one man you call when there's a chemical terrorist attack on the United States. Now, the backdrop to this movie can be somewhere else, but he goes in, and guess what? They're going to team him up with somebody else. It's not going to be Sean Connery, obviously, because rest in peace, Sean Connery. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. But it could be a new modern-day action star of sorts. I don't know. I could imagine him teaming up with somebody else, taking down a terroristic threat. That'd be kind of cool. We'll just go with any of those. All right. The next one comes from... where is it? B. Torres says, I've been watching your videos since I was a freshman in high school. I'm 49 years old now. That's awesome. I'm 63. I started YouTube 13 years ago when I was 23. The math doesn't add up, but it doesn't have to. Anyway, time flies. Happy New Year. Well, thanks for that, man. Thanks for watching. That was a great comment. The next one comes from Lee Kane Pettit, who says, Started watching you when I was 14. Now I'm 26, and you're still my favorite content creator on the internet. Thank you for everything, and much love. Well, thanks for that, man. I'm probably not the most consistent content creator on the internet or on the YouTubes, as the kid call it nowadays. I don't know what you call this place. I call it an outlet, a cathartic outlet, where I go to release my thoughts and opinions on movies and life, but I mask it all behind movies. And some of you are really smart and clever people, and you pick up between the lines, and I appreciate that. But nevertheless, thank you guys for watching for all these years. So I will say this. Am I the most consistent guy on YouTube? Absolutely not. But when I make a video, just know it's the most genuine video I can give you. At least 99% of the time. Except for when I'm talking about Raid Shadow Legends. Okay? I'm sorry. But Daddy's got to get paid. All right? Let's put the glasses back on. Feeling a little bit wired. All right. Let's take another drink of this delicious beverage here. Happy New Year to all of you guys. Salute. All right. One down and hopefully a shit ton more to go. All right. The next question. I'm sorry. I really can't read the questions with those on. The next question comes from Ryman6000, who says, "Hello there, John. I am Ryman's brother, HWS, and I have an offer for you. I understand you're a wrestling fan, so I have a group that I want you in called NWO. For the details, message me on Insta, NWO for life." Well, thanks, Ryman6000. Dude, to be honest with you, I don't really have time to join a group or anything anywhere. I barely keep up with my own shit nowadays. I can't even... There's so much stuff I don't like that goes over my head on social media or life. I just don't have the energy to keep up with it. But thank you for the offer. I am a wrestling fan, but I'll shout out. It's on Insta. It's NWO for Life 69. I don't know what goes down there, but check it out. Thanks for the question. Better Call Mall says, "Have you ever done it while wearing the drive jacket or flexed in a mirror?" Yes and yes. But I prefer to wear the Bane mask. "I now must break you." And then they call the cops. Stephanie Myers, Happy New Year. Well, thanks, Stephanie. Happy New Year to you as well. Interplode says, "Happy New Year, John. Can you give us a quick rant about Nuclear Man from Superman 4 or Bane from Batman and Robin?" Bomb. Well, Nuclear Man looked like a bi-curious Chippendales dancer from 1985. Let's be honest. That dude had a fucking perm, and he wore long silver glue-on nails. And I don't know what the studio was thinking. I think they just found some gay porn star to play Nuclear Man. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But that's what it looks like they did. Now, when it comes to Bane from Batman and Robin, what was his name? His name was like Jeep something. He was actually a pro wrestler and like an arm wrestler. Just a really bloated out guy on too much juice that I think his heart imploded because he was just too big of a dude. But anyway, where was I going with that? Both are, honestly, I think that's a great debate. The best debate would be, who was the worst comic book villain? Nuclear Man or Bane from Batman and Robin? I would probably say Bane from Batman and Robin. The dude just looked like he was going to have like a heart attack the whole movie. He looked like he could barely move. He just looked bloated with too much water. But I did like when he was painted green and wearing a jumpsuit and a hat. It looked goofy. Oh, he's in disguise, everyone. You'll never know that's Bane over there. Anyway, two great, terrible characters. Jeremy Scott says, Happy New Year, John. Well, Happy New Year to you too, Jeremy. Skylar Wheelock says, Marvel's one successful movie this year, Guardians 3, being made by a guy who now runs their main competition is fucking Shakespearean. Laugh out loud. It really is, but also, when it comes to James Gunn, I don't know what he was thinking with the new Suicide Squad movie that he directed for DC. It's like, I don't know how the same guy directed that, and then the same guy directs Guardians of the Galaxy 3. If he had brought the same tone and vibe and craftsmanship that he did with Guardians 3 into the new Suicide Squad movie, it just felt like a clusterfuck of a whole bunch of ideas. I think it would have been a way better film than it was. But I'm looking forward to the new DC universe, because let's be honest, it can't get any worse than it was. So it can only hopefully get better from this point on. You know what gets me most excited about going forward with the new DC universe is, at least I'm hoping they have a game plan. They have a point A and a point B, and they're going to try to get to point B and with the logical approach and not just make up things along the way. So those are my thoughts. I think that was an answer to your question. If it wasn't, I'm sorry. But I'll put these back on. Mackenzie Logan says, "Yo, John, tell my boy Z White I miss him." Hey, yo, Z White. Mackenzie Logan misses you. Get your ass home. It's dinner time. Night King 01 says, "Have you ever seen Rolling Thunder from 1977? It's basically the prototypical revenge film. It's awesome." What is it called? Rolling Thunder? No, I don't think I have. I'm going to look this up very quickly, because I've seen a lot of weird movies. And I just want to see if I've seen this. Oh my God. No, I have. Oh, it's got Tommy Lee Jones? No, I have not seen this. Okay. I've not seen Rolling Thunder from 1977. Wilson says, N8 or HNY. Oh, that means Happy New Year. I'm sorry. Abbreviations and just they go over my head sometimes. Anyway, here we go. Or acronyms for that matter. Put a code on. Let me know the world hasn't ended. Oh, yes. Well, I'll tell you what. One day when your parents are both shot to death in an alleyway, I will put my code on you and let you know the world hasn't ended. And by the way, that scene in The Dark Knight Rises, what a great scene where Batman and Commissioner Gordon share that moment where Batman finally tells Commissioner Gordon who he is in the most roundabout way that took 7 minutes to explain, when, keep in mind, there's a ticking time bomb back here that he has to go fly over the Gotham Harbor with before he kills himself. And by the way, in my opinion, Batman sacrificed himself in The Dark Knight Rises. I don't care what anyone says. The logical ending to that movie was Batman dies, which would have been very impactful. But when I see him drinking a fucking martini in Europe somewhere, I don't buy that shit for 1 second. That happy ending fairy tale bullshit from Alfred's imagination. No. Batman's dead. I stand by that. I don't care what anyone says. Furthermore, let's go back to your question, which was, oh yes, I will put my coat on you and protect you when your parents are dead in an alleyway. Okay. The next question comes from Reba Rock, who says, besides Nadia in American Pie and Phoebe Cates in Fast Times, what is the hottest scene in movies you and your friends would watch? We'd always watch Nadia or Amy Smart in Road Trip. Haha. Yeah, I was a pervert as well, and I still am, I will say, but those are both great scenes. The one that always got me as a small child, and keep in mind, I was a weird kid, was definitely the Sharon Stone scene in Basic Instinct, which, keep in mind, we had the movie on VHS tape, and it was such a hard, excruciating time in life to pause it just at the right moment. And when you paused it at the right moment, there was like tracking issues on the VHS tape. It was tough being a kid in the early 90s, but that was definitely one of them. Giant Claw says, hey, Johnny boy. Been watching you since 2011. Important question, is Tiny Todd still alive? Only in my soul, but he is burning in the pits of hell right now, where he belongs for his sins against humanity and all the lives he's taken throughout the years. I want you to know that. Tiny Todd's little skeleton, it wasn't just a little plastic skeleton. No. What that was... You know what? I don't want to talk about it here. That's for me, my psychologist, to talk about, not for you guys, all right? Let's just keep going. Night King 01 says, you say the nuclear man looked like a Chippendales dancer. John, he was a Chippendales dancer. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see them going to a bar and casting that guy. hey, you want a role in Hollywood? Good-looking guy from 1980 covered in baby oil? And then the executive producer of the movie says, well, you're going to have to earn it. But that was before the Me Too movement, where men had to keep quiet in Hollywood to get roles. Talking to you, Harvey Weinstein. You piece of shit. All right. Skylar Wheelock says, I got the perfect movie sent for you. Patrick Bateman is walking around the streets of New York at night, and he sees the pigeon lady and ends her life, and forever in his debt. Now that's a good idea. Now imagine. Now let's really envision that scene come to fruition. The pigeon lady is in Central Park covered in bird shit, looking all disgusting as per usual, and Patrick Bateman strolls by. And he says, would you like a job? You want me to help you? How about a job? And she goes, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. And he goes, you know what? I just don't think we have anything in common. And he just murders her. Oh, and stomps her pigeons. Just stomps them. Oh, what a great scene that would be. Anyway, the next question comes from Michael Flores, who says, hey, John, would you come to Silent Hill with me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The White Skull says, what's your favorite scene in The Mask? There's always time for one last kiss. Probably that. Oh, Dorian, you creepy son of a bitch. The next one comes from Bruce Cook, who says, sorry, John, Twister was god-awful, really stupid. The first Twister's phenomenal. I'm sorry you didn't like it. Harold Holland East says, Happy New Year, John from Holland. Well, Happy New Year to Holland, man. Are you guys, what are you like? Are you ahead of us in time or behind us in time? You're ahead of us, right? Did you already have New Year's? I don't know. Bruce Cook says, shouldn't the Dune sequel be The Beach? It could be. The next one comes from Rebel Rock, who says, now that Jonathan Majors is out, who would you cast as King? I don't know. There was talk about, oh God, what's his name? The guy who just played Manta? I can never remember his name. The dude who played Manta, or you could have Finn from Star Wars. I don't know. Who cares? Can we just get rid of Kang? Like, he was just such a secondary villain where you knew it wasn't going to matter. Nothing he did mattered, and he was just going to be a stepping stone along the way. How about we just get rid of Kang? I don't think anyone cares about the character. I certainly didn't. Ant-Man Quantumania didn't build him up to make me care whatsoever, which in fact, Ant-Man already sort of beated one version of Kang, so maybe the next 3,000 versions are a bit more difficult, but nevertheless, he just feels like a stepping stone villain to me. So I would be okay if they just scrapped Kang. What about you guys? Do you feel the same way? But anyway, the next part of that question was, I think Marvel should show up to Denzel's house and write him a blank check to be in it. Someone with Denzel's gravitas would make Kang a formidable foe. Okay, all right. Now, okay, you sold me a little bit there. Denzel would actually chew up the scenery and give that the charismatic approach it needs. Now, I think some other people might say maybe his son, John Washington, could do it as well. But I'm sorry, John David Washington, Denzel's son, he's sort of a void of charisma. He does this really subdued, understated performance in all of his movies, and I don't like it. And maybe he's trying to step so far away from what his dad did because he knows he's just in his shadow and he doesn't want to try to be Denzel number 2. But he just has this very understated performance where I think, oh man, you don't really offer much to this role. You're very subdued and boring to watch. So yeah, I would actually rather see Denzel, even if it's old man Denzel, play this role. That's fine. Maybe they could do some kind of weird time paradox where it's an older version of Kang and it's Denzel. Maybe they could fit that. I don't know. But yeah, if you're going to do another Kang the Conqueror, then Denzel's fine. But I would be okay if they didn't. The next one comes from Rebel Rock, who says, have you ever seen Paranorman or Kubo and Two Strings? I have not. I love the movies. What's your favorite stop motion movie? Maybe The Nightmare Before Christmas or James and the Giant Peach. I think Nightmare Before Christmas is overrated. The opening song is tight, but the rest sucks. Now, keep in mind, I'll be honest with you. I've never been a hardcore fan of Nightmare Before Christmas. I appreciate the artwork and the craftsmanship and the stop motion animation. I like the visual style of it. I think it definitely was worthy of all the praise it got. But for me personally, it's never really connected with me. And I enjoy it, but I don't go buy Jack Skellington t-shirts and Funko Pops and shit, you know? So, but I always like James and the Giant Peach quite a bit. Zepsy Cinema says, are you excited for Nosferatu, Robert Eggers? I talked about that earlier in the opening of this live show. I'm quite excited for it. I think I talked about the movie for like a solid 5 minutes. So if you want to scroll back and check it out, there's... Do you like his other movies also? Do you think DiCaprio's movie, Star Days, are over and he's going to be in smaller movies? Happy New Year! Well, thanks, Zepsy. Well, let's go to the Leo question here. And first of all, I like The Lighthouse quite a bit when it comes to Robert Eggers. That might be one of my favorite movies of his. I think Leo's got a long title reign ahead of him, man, for being one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. I mean, he just made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a couple years ago. He was just in the new Scorsese movie. I think old man Leo will age into the roles they cast him as. I think he's got a long career ahead of him. Now, if Leo wants to take a backseat and star in some smaller movies, that'd be cool too. But I think he's going to be around for a while. The next one comes from Robin J. Yang, who says, could you please go to your fiance and say, there's always time for one last kiss? I do that every night, man. Kiss her and then come back. Happy New Year. Yeah, I do that every night. John from San Diego, come visit. Never been to San Diego. You give me a 5-star hotel, a bottle of vodka, and a gift card to Chili's, and I'll be there, man. Never been to San Diego, though. I feel like if I go to San Diego, I might as well make the drive down to Tijuana. Don't ask questions. Never been there either. Bo Cylinder says, I felt stupid watching Oppenheimer. Maybe I should have watched Barbie instead. Is your favorite Nolan movie still The Dark Knight? I think it's probably the Nolan movie I've rewatched the most and have gotten the most out of. I think overall, I think The Dark Knight would be my favorite Nolan film. Though I really do appreciate The Prestige quite a bit. Those are kind of side by side for my favorite Nolan movies. But, you know, I'm a Batman fan. I'm going to give it to The Dark Knight. I know that's the cliche, typical answer to say for some Nolan fanboy or something, but yeah, I think it is. Rebel Rock says, for Tarantino's The Movie Critic, he said the lead needs to be a white dude in his 30s. My dream is Ryan Gosling is in it. Who would you like to see act in Tarantino's last flick? It's got to be a white dude in his 30s. Well, Ryan Gosling is 40-something years old, isn't he? I don't know I don't know who the character is. I don't know what his personality is. That really... I don't know who it would be. I'll take Ryan Gosling, sure. But who is the character? Is the critic himself is that the guy in his 30s? I'd have to really sit there and think about that. I'm not sure. I'm just looking forward to it, man. Oh, 4 hours till midnight. Everyone hold on to your butts. Michael Flores says, come on, John. I would love for us to go to Silent Hill. I'll tell you what. Sure. Pick me up next Tuesday. Let's go, man. The new Chicken Run movie actually wasn't bad. I didn't see it. I probably never will. Death metal, question mark? Yeah, I like death metal every once in a while, sure. When it gets a little bit too extreme, it's like, I like death metal mixed with like an operatic choir kind of mix to it. I like when someone actually sings for a couple minutes and then it goes, and then it's like some lady from like Finland singing, you know, like an opera voice. I like that kind of shit. That's what gets me going. Something's beeping. All right, the next one comes from... Oh, we got one here from Batman11C who says, Happy New Year, John. Have you heard the rumors about what characters/villains might appear in Batman 2? If you have, what's your take? Well, I've heard rumors about Hush being in the movie. And do I think Hush could definitely lend itself to the Robert Pattinson version of the Batman verse? Yeah, I think he would work as a character, but at the same time, it's sort of like, oh, he's a guy who grew up rich with Bruce Wayne. Now he's a bad guy who wants to kill Bruce Wayne. Okay. Oh, he's working with the Riddler. He just feels like a henchman type villain to me, and not the main villain I would like to see in a Batman film. The original rumor was, let's have Mr. Freeze make a comeback to some degree. And that to me, to some degree, that was kind of a good pun. I'm going to pat myself on the back. All right. No, I think I would like to see Mr. Freeze, but a realistic version of Mr. Freeze, as realistic as you can make him. I think that would be kind of cool, something different. Because if there's one character that needs a redemption from the comic book live action lore of Batman movies, it's definitely Mr. Freeze. Can we all agree on that? But then again, hey, I would like another live action version of Bane done right. So, and then I know some people want to see Court of Owls in the new Batman movie, but I'm sorry, that shit's boring. Oh, here's some rich people who run Gotham City behind the scenes, and they're dictating everything that happens. Okay, like I just don't care about more corruption in Gotham City. We've had enough of that. Let's do something different. Michael Flores says, Hey, John, if you had the ticket from Last Action Hero, what movie would you go visit? Oh, Showgirls, Striptease, I don't know. Maybe Wolf of Wall Street. Just, I don't know. In all seriousness, probably Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from the early 70s. As soon as they're in the scene with the chocolate river and the Oompa Loompas come out, I would just do a cannonball dive into that chocolate river, man. Well, just take the candy canes and just, oh man, I'd just run around there eating everything. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries. And then I'd be like, hey, Willy, I know you want to kill all these kids. I'd be like, hey, Willy Wonka, I know you want to kill all these kids. I'll help you. Hey, I'll juice her. And then I'd probably steal the Oompa Loompas for my own means. Don't ask questions. I'm tired of mowing my yard. I would have the Oompa Loompas do it. And then I would have I don't know. That's where I would go if I had the magic golden ticket. Bo Cylinder says, worst movie you've seen with Tom Hanks, Mind's Inferno. Yeah, but the second and the third installment, I believe, was of the Da Vinci Code, which was really bad. I could barely get through that abomination against humanity. Have you ever seen a movie called Joe versus the Volcano from the 1980s, starring Tom Hanks? It's basically where he sells himself to be sacrificed into a volcano for some money. And then the majority of the movie is him and a lady on a raft made out of suitcases. It's a really bizarre movie that no one talks about. It's not a very good movie. But if you get bored sometime, watch Joe in the Volcano or Joe versus the Volcano starring Tom Hanks. Terrible movie. But with all that said, that reminds me of a few things I've watched recently. I was in the mood for disaster survival movies. So I did watch a movie called All Is Lost, starring Robert Redford, who clearly dyed his hair for this movie because it looks so unnatural. Anyway, All Is Lost is an okay survival movie, but man, oh man, his character in that movie is the most incompetent fucking moron I've ever seen. How to make a bad situation worse. Watch All Is Lost with Robert Redford. And another movie I watch, which will probably be in my top 10 movies of 2023, is a movie that I've been waiting to watch for a while now, but I've been holding it off because I think the trailers for the movie did not do the movie any justice. And that's a little movie called Saltburn. And I quite enjoyed the film. It's dubious, it's weird, it's dark, it's seedy, but most importantly, no one expressed how great this movie was. Even when people said, oh, it's pretty good, I don't think they understood the quality that this movie had, or at least what I was looking. When it comes to movies that I enjoy, I like sleazy, weird movies that have over-the-top sequences of grotesque weirdness happening, and I like characters who are sociopaths. For some odd reason, I like watching sociopaths in a film. Like I see what they're doing, and I love it. So yeah, Saltburn was phenomenal. There's a scene that takes place in a bathtub in Saltburn, which just was so disgusting. It made me not want to drink my Diet Dr. Pepper for like 20 minutes after watching it. Just slurping it all up. Jake R says, like looking in a mirror. It's not like looking in a mirror, but what it is, it's like an extreme version of what could have been, right? Like you have 1% of those traits, and then you see 150% of it up on the big screen, and you go, oh, that's terrifying to look at. But and also in Saltburn, my other favorite scene took place at a gravesite. I'll leave it there. But if you want fucked up shit, go watch Saltburn. It's a good time. All right, the next question comes from Night King 01, who says, have you ever seen the movie Fortress with Christopher Lambert? For some reason, I'm in the mood for some early 90s sci-fi B movies. I love those types of movies. Fortress. I don't think I've seen Fortress, man. Rebel Rock says, what is a movie you wish you could relive seeing for the first time? Mine is Spider-Man No Way Home or Avengers Endgame. Such great theater experiences for non-comic book movies. I'd pick Inglourious Basterds. That opening scene is so good. Yeah, man. Geez. What's a movie I wish I could rewatch for the first time? I think like rewatching something like Forrest Gump or T2 Judgment Day for the first time, or something like Gladiator for the first time would be a really good experience. Like watching Gladiator for the first time on the big screen would be really cool. So maybe that. I think that would be a really, because that's the type of like epical, historical epic I enjoy. So I'd go with that. But if I could watch T2 for the first time and just erase all my knowledge with Terminator and the whole franchise, oh, that would blow my melon wide open. Rebel Rock says, favorite Matthew Lillard performance besides Stu from Scream? I'd go with Brock Hudson from She's All That. Didn't he have dreadlocks or something weird in that movie? I'd probably pick Up the Creek Without a Paddle. Is that what it's called? Up the Creek Without a Paddle, I guess. I don't know. I mean, besides, I'm definitely not going to pick Shaggy from Scooby-Doo or some shit like that. I mean, really, Stu is his solidifying performance he's ever given. But the next movie I enjoy with Matthew Lillard is probably Up the Creek Without a Paddle. Koloi Cook says, just watch Munich. What do you think of Eric Bana? Oh, I love Eric Bana in that movie. He's a badass. I've only seen Munich once years ago. I enjoyed it, but it's been one of those movies I've been meaning to go back and revisit. John, did you play the Tony Hawk games? Absolutely. I was really into those. And then the last time I tried to play one of the Tony Hawk games, I sort of thought to myself, skateboarding is fucking boring. I'd rather be in a car hitting a big ball into a net. And that game's called Rocket League, which did in fact cause me to break my controller earlier. You know what it is? During Christmas break, you have all these kids that are home and really bored, and they get online and play video games, and this is their life, right? Video games are these kids' lives. And they're just too damn good. And I don't have the energy nor the care to be that great at video games at this point in my life. But these kids are just too damn good. And you get on and you start playing with some of these like little savants, and it's just, they don't miss anything. They're dialed in. They're just staring at it like they're fucking wired in, like it's the Matrix, and they're in a tub of goo, and they can't miss anything because the only sense of accreditation they get in life is being good at video games. They're unstoppable. They're fucking unbeatable. So once Christmas break ends and all these little fuckers go back to school, and if you're one of those little fuckers, I'm talking to you too, I will start playing video games again online, because right now it's too hard. I need to play with normal people. Michael Flores says, "Hey John, if you had the..." we already answered that. One. Reb Rock says, "What do you hope the outcome of Deadpool 3 is?" I don't really care, to be honest with you. The Deadpool movies are okay to me. It's one of those characters where anything that can happen will happen. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe Hugh Jackman's Wolverine actually does die. I don't know. Who knows? I couldn't tell you. I don't even know what the storyline is for Deadpool 3. I don't really watch Deadpool movies for the storylines, to be honest with you, because the storylines in those films are always sort of substandard to what actually happens. I mean, the only thing I really remember about Deadpool 2 that I enjoyed was, there was the whole time travel aspect with Josh Brolin in there. But I did like the shitty CGI version of the Juggernaut. And the music that went along with him. Rebel Rock says, "Would you want to see a Rocket League live action movie?" Probably not. You know, I don't think there's much there to make a movie out of. You know, it's one of those things where it's just more fun to play than watch. Skylar Wheelock says, "But I would like to, if you want my video game movie adaptation that needs to happen, and I've been waiting my entire life to see it, a Zombies Ate My Neighbors live action movie adaptation. I have a great idea. I have a phenomenal concept. Hollywood, if you're listening or if you're watching, which I know you watch all of my live shows, I have a great idea. I'll pitch it to you. I will sell it to you for $1 million. Nothing less, nothing more. You'll love it. It does include squirt guns. That's all I'm going to say." The next question comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, "What are some certain situations that make you feel like a god amongst men, John? What's the most tragic TV death?" Back when I was working out like a maniac in Bane mode, there were sometimes where I went to the gym and I just felt invincible. And after the gym, I'd have such a pump where my traps were literally touching my ears, and I'd walk into the grocery store and there'd be a line of people in front of me, and I just thought to myself, I could pick all these people up and just throw them and just check out. If only there was not consequences to something like that in society. Anyway, the next part of your question was, John, are you a psychopath? Yes, I am. But the real next part of that question is, most tragic TV death of a character. I think Hank in Breaking Bad was pretty good. I know some people might say Glenn in The Walking Dead, but by that point, I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to watch everyone else's head be bashed in with a baseball bat. Another tragic death, maybe Robb Stark during the Red Wedding sequence was kind of tragic. That was definitely a what the fuck moment. All right, the next one comes from, were you Stifler in high school? Maybe like 25%-esque Stifler in high school. I'd say like 25%. That was my personality in high school. The next one comes from, John, did you ever see Justice League series on Cartoon Network? I never did. The White Skull says, do you miss Meathead John? If I could get like 20% of that physique back, I would be content and I'd be more than satisfied. I just don't have the energy or the willpower to do that anymore, nor do I. Do I think that was necessarily a good look? No. But I definitely don't want to be skinny John. So there's a fine line in between both of those things. But it was, the thing is, in life, you have phases, right? And with me, when it comes to each one of these different phases in life, I always max it out to the extreme. Like when it came to working out, I didn't just kind of work out. No, I worked out. Like I saw a peak at the mountaintop and I climbed it and I touched the top and I went, boop. And I was like, oh, okay, I did it. This is as big as I think I can get to where I'm still functioning as a human being. And I did it, and there's so many different phases in life where you get into something and I get almost, what's the word I'm thinking of? Oh, I almost hyper focus on it. And then I do it and I go, oh, I'm done. On to the next thing. So do I miss it? Yeah, it was a good time, but I'm glad I did it. But I'm glad that was a phase that was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And the cool thing about that phase was with Meathead John was I captured it all on video. You can go back on YouTube and you can see me for like 5 years just looking all just angry looking. Like, what is this guy doing talking about movies? I don't know, but it was me. Does American Psycho look phenomenal on 4K? It definitely looks really good on 4K. I'm happy with the 4K of American Psycho. Antonio Lacava Torres says, John, did you see The Last Voyage of Demeter? It's a modern take on Nosferatu taking place during the boat ride, and the old movie was pretty good. I was meaning to watch that, but the truth be told, I just sort of didn't want to. Like, I get that there's this evil vampire on this ship. Some people die, and then no matter what, they get to wherever. I just didn't care, I guess. It sounded like an interesting story, and then I watched the trailer, and I thought, I don't know if I want to watch this for 90 minutes. So, that's where I'm at with that. John, did you get that bit completely natty, John? Yeah, man, it wasn't hard. The truth is, when I was working out, the most I ever weighed was like 217 pounds for like one day. And then after that, the most I would weigh was around 205, 6, 7 pounds. Naturally. Like, it wasn't that big of a difference. The thing is with me is the way I'm built is if you give me 10 pounds of muscle mass, it looks like 25. It's a weird phenomenon where I'm kind of naturally skinny, but any muscle I get, because I have no fat on my arms, just makes my arms look like two big veiny dicks pulsating with power behind them. So really, when it comes to working out, it's all sort of, it's an illusion. Working out is where can I put muscle to make myself look bigger than I naturally am? So it wasn't that hard to do. If I really dedicated my life to working out for like 6 months, maybe a year, I would look like a weirdo. I really would. Like I know how to get my traps up to my ears again. I know how to do it. It's just, do I want to? Not really. It's all about functionality nowadays. It used to be about presentation. Now it's about functionality. Plus my back hurts. It hurts to work out too much anymore. The next one comes from the Movie Raider, who says, John, between The Dark Knight or The Batman, which do you think is the better Batman solo movie? If I could combine both of them, I wish I could. There's things about Robert Pattinson's Batman that I love, and there's things about The Dark Knight that I really love. If you want me to say which is the better Batman movie, and I'll emphasize the T in Batman, because some people want you to say Batman, not just a naturally fluent way of saying it, Batman, where you don't overly pronounce the T, which just makes you sound weird. But anyway, I think The Batman with Robert Pattinson is the better Batman movie. But if you want the better movie, including Batman, I would probably say The Dark Knight is that movie. the more I've rewatched the Batman with Robert Pattinson, is it just does suffer from pacing issues quite a bit. Some of the storyline in it is a little bit underwhelming to me. I think the twist at the end of the movie where you have the DA of Gotham City and Falcone, and there's like, it's supposed to be like this big twist that they're in cahoots with each other, and I'm like, didn't we know that 3 hours ago? Or like, why is this the twist? Oh, the Gotham City's DA is corrupt. Oh, big fucking twist, Batman. I that to me was underwhelming, but I don't get me wrong. I'm just nitpicking it because I've seen it so many times, and you're forcing my hand. But I think I answered a question somewhere in there. The next one, I'm going to answer just one or two more. I'm going to answer one or two more questions, guys, and I got to get going. But here it is. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, "Happy 24, John. What Cobb lights are you using, and where did you get your FlickPix neon sign from? Is your lady friend Australian? Cheers, man." That is the weirdest combination of questions I've ever read in my entire life. And that comes from a guy named Kung Fu Hot Dog, which I really do enjoy. Is my lady friend Australian? Why do you ask that? Does she look like she's from Australia? No, she is not. But that's an interesting observation you have. That's not a neon sign. That's just an actual sign. That was a gift like 10 years ago. You can probably go to any sign shop and get one of those made. It's this plastic that they cut out and put vinyl lettering on. All my lights and everything, if you go to the link down below, it says things I use for YouTube. It gives you a link right to Amazon. So it gives you all the lights and shit I use. But I just buy a whole bunch of different lights that I can download the apps for and change the colors. So... Samuel Dixon says, "Cool to see you semi-regularly again, Johnny." Yeah, hey, I've been doing the live shows once a week. I will keep doing them once a week. I like doing the live shows. They're fun. They're engaging. They're enjoyable. It's not just jump cuts for 7 minutes. I like doing this. This is fun to me. This is what I think YouTube is. You want to know why? YouTube. Doesn't it make sense? We're conversing. We're having a conversation. Like, we're engaging with each other. That's the fun thing about YouTube. Some content creators are actually afraid to talk to you guys. Did you know that? They go out of their way not to do it. That's why they don't respond to their comments ever. But I like talking to you guys. So that's why I like the live shows so much. I like interacting. And plus, the truth is, I like talking about what you guys want to talk about. That's the truth. I'm not some fucking crazy narcissist who just wants to hear his own voice. No. I like talking about what you want to talk about. And I like the instant gratification and the feedback that I get. It's phenomenal. The Dark Knight is just a better film. I'm sorry. Oh, The Dark Knight is a better film than The Batman. It absolutely is a better movie. It really is. The Batman is woke. I mean, other than the line by Catwoman who says these rich white people should fucking die or whatever, it's like, outside of that, I don't think it's that woke of a movie. And then little did she know, she's actually talking to the richest white guy in Gotham City. All right. Claudia Rogajon says, "Hey, John, speaking of The Dark Knight, I found out The Dark Knight Rises, Bane, for the most part, was actually played by Tom Hardy's stunt double, and it was really only Tom Hardy when he was given lines. Kind of disappointing to me." Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, because Tom Hardy, honestly, when everyone says, "Oh, Tom Hardy was so big and buff," Tom Hardy only weighed like 200 pounds. He's 5'7", and really, when it comes to Tom Hardy, he works out his traps extensively to make himself look bigger than he is. But really, in The Dark Knight, man, he was just kind of a puffy looking dude if you look at the behind the scenes photos of Tom Hardy. And some of those wide shots where you see Bane, I'll give you the one prime example here, is there's a scene where Batman and Bane are fighting on that catwalk, and then Batman falls off the catwalk or flies down, and then Bane jumps off and grabs a chain and and gets down to the bottom of it. That's Tom Hardy's stuntman, and that's why he looks so jacked in that scene. So yeah, I get what you're saying there, man. John, will you run class president with Tracy Flick? Pick Flick, absolutely. That's a great movie, by the way. Election. If you've never seen Election with Matthew Broderick, go watch it, please. I like to think of it as the unofficial sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You have the personality to do it, too. Well, thanks for that, man. Yeah, I read another question about people on YouTube. The thing is, I'll give you some insight. A lot of people that you watch on YouTube that have 5-minute videos that they crap out, in real life, try to have a conversation with them. You'd be very, very taken back about, how can I phrase this? You'd be very disappointed in how they engage with you and talk to you in person. It's like, what? You're the same person I watch on YouTube? What the fuck? In real life, you can barely put 2 words together and you don't really have an opinion about anything. It's the truth. Some of your favorite content creators on YouTube, when they can edit their videos, they look like they know what they're talking about and they come across really entertaining. In real life, they're really fucking boring. But the next question is, John rocks. I'll take it. Thank you. Do you like Election or The Holdovers more? I probably like Election more. I think it has more rewatchability. The Holdovers I quite enjoyed. I think there's some down moments in the movie. But I really enjoyed The Holdovers. It's definitely in my top 10 of the year. Does it have a lot of rewatchability? Maybe not, but I think Election is actually a funnier movie, personally. All right, let's answer just one more question here. I'm waiting for one last question. John, please talk more about your thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon. It's just a movie. The victims of that film, the movie did not do a good job at making you care about them. The Native American people in Killers of a Flower Moon, it almost used them as props for like comedic value at times. There was like one character that it tried to make you care about, but it never really got me there. And I found myself halfway through going, oh my God, I don't give a shit about anything happening in this movie. Now, if you want to care about the true life story and the tragedy that it is, that's fine. But as a film, and especially as a Scorsese film, I just was not invested in it whatsoever. It was really just Leo and being a cliche, one-dimensional character and a drunk, using Native Americans for their money and naivety to capitalize on them. That's what the movie is, and that's all it was. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone in 5 years is going to talk about Scorsese's best movies ever and mention this movie. They might do it to placate someone or just throw it in there because it's a real-life tragedy, but I think it's one of his worst movies he's ever made. Tonally speaking, it was really bad. But I know some people enjoy it. So, who am I? Those are just my opinions. Yeah, David says, I agree. I didn't connect with their people emotionally either. It was very disappointing. Yes, because no one had a fucking personality in the movie. Oh, here's people I'm supposed to feel sympathy for. Okay, can you describe this person? No. Okay. Like, what is their personality trait? Samuel Dixon says, the Batman is just too damn long. To me, the Batman was clearly paced to be a 3-part episodic thing. That's how, if you watch the Batman, it literally is paced to be a 3-part series of some sort. Like, you can just see it everywhere. It's like cut. And then they sort of reiterate the same thing they just did over and over again until it gets to a finale. So pacing wise, there's so many great things in the Batman, but there's so many things that I think they could just rip out of it and it would be a better movie. Harold Holland East says, John, can you please do your Busta Rhymes impression of Trick or Treat? Trick or treat, motherfucker. What? Happy New Year, motherfucker. The Departed is right down there with Killers of the Flower Moon, in my opinion, overrated as hell. I love The Departed, man. Jack Nicholson stole that movie and chewed up the scenery. There's twists, there's churns, there's character moments. Everyone has a personality. I love The Departed. All right, here we go. Mr. Flickinger, I first watched you in the Valerian review. I have a love of movies and weightlifting, and also like you. There's a big heart, and like your reviews. Well, thanks, Patrick. Thank you for that. It's kind of weird, the first time people latch onto you on YouTube. It's like, what video did you watch and why? I'll give you a quick backstory before I go, guys. I was watching some of my older Flick Trip videos this last week, and I was really like getting into them. And there's so many things I did in those videos that I could never do again. Maybe I would overthink it. Maybe I'm just too self-aware. But back then, being naive and hungry and dumb, there was just things I did that was comedic gold that I could never recapture again. Or maybe society and life it's simply not as fun as it once was. But anyway, some of my original Flick Trip videos, man, I go back and watch those and I go, that is some of the best stuff I've ever made in my life. And one day when I die in 125 years, I want them to show all these videos at my funeral for 7 hours straight. And you have to watch them. Bo Cylinder says, Silence of the Lambs or 7. I'm definitely more of a Silence of the Lambs guy. I'm sorry. I don't think you can top Anthony Hopkins as a better villainous role, who just has this charisma and this way he articulates everything that he's saying to be this just sociopath. And the way that Hannibal Lecter is portrayed in Silence of the Lambs, that to me is comedic genius. Just everything he says, the way he dismisses people and belittles them. Oh, I love it. That's like, it's preaching to the choir with me. And then you have Buffalo Bill, just his creepy weird shit he does in a basement. Those are two characters on two different spectrums of being sociopaths that I enjoy. I like the articulate, subtle approach. And then I like the over-the-top one where he cuts off your nipples and makes a lampshade out of them. That to me defines who I am. So with all that said, I think that's a great place to wrap up this live show. But first I want to say, hey guys, Happy New Year. Here's looking to 2024. Hopefully it's more exciting and more enjoyable. And hopefully movies in 2024 are better than they were in 2023. I'm not saying that there wasn't some great movies along the way this year, but there really wasn't that one movie that just latched onto my soul and made me go, oh, I want to rewatch that over and over again. So I'm hoping I get one of those in 2024. I have one last question here from Seth Hall, who says, Happy New Year's, John, and best wishes for 2024. Would you care to pick a random movie off your shelf for New Year? I will pick one movie off my shelf and quickly talk about it, and this will be the last thing I do on this live show for tonight. And I want to say thanks to all 265 of you beautiful, beautiful bastards watching this. Thank you guys. And give me 1 second. I will pick one movie off the shelf. Don't go anywhere. And by the way, I'm not wearing any pants right now. Let's see. What's the movie? Okay, the movie of the day is Mrs. Doubtfire. The most terrifying, traumatic thing you could ever do to your children when you lose custody of your children. Please don't dress up like an old lady to watch them. Just don't do that. That's no good. Just terrifying. Look at that. Look at that. Scary. Look how scary that is right there. Ugh. Could you imagine? Just never mind. Just never mind. I don't even want to dive into it. The more I think about this movie, the more it terrifies me. Just, ugh. Anyway, guys. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year. And did we get another? Okay. I was hoping we didn't get another question. I missed it. Okay. With all that said, Happy New Year. I'm going to go watch Mrs. Doubtfire and relive the childhood traumas that I endured. Either way, Happy New Year. I'll see you guys next year. Stay safe. Have a good night. And don't drive drunk. See you guys. Okay, Lewis Berry, we got a $5 super chat. I was done, and you typed it in anyway. Here we go, Lewis Berry. Best and worst film of the year. Iron Claw is my favorite. The worst of the year, maybe The Marvels. Most anticipated movie of 2024. I'll just say Twisters to be really stupid. And the Hannibal TV show, never really got into it, Mads Mikkelsen. So anyway, guys, that's really the last question. Thanks for watching, and take care. Bye.